Whether you are renovating or just looking to change things up, choosing a paint color for kitchens that have white cabinets can be a little challenging. In today's video, I'm going to highlight some of the best paint colors for kitchen with white cabinets, so stick around. Now, before anyone asks, yes, of course, you can always repeat whatever cabinet color you have right onto your walls for a monochromatic look, and that is a timeless and beautiful option. But if you want to change things up, maybe choose a neutral, a pale neutral, or maybe even a blue or green, I have tons of suggestions for you today. Welcome, I'm Ashley from the blog homelikeyoumeanit.com. I'm a paint color consultant and decorator, and my job is to help you design a home that you love. Now, before we dive into the paint colors, choosing a paint color for your kitchen is so challenging because there are so many fixed elements that you have to consider. So in the kitchen, you want to look at the backsplash, you want to look at your countertops, you want to look at your flooring if it's not like a medium toned or pretty timeless hardwood floor. You want to then evaluate whatever room your kitchen opens up to. Say it opens up to your living room, you need to look at your fixed elements there and your furnishings there to kind of pick the right neutral that's going to marry all of these elements together. Now, two things to keep in mind when you are looking at colors. You want to pay attention to the undertone. The undertones in the neutral colors need to relate best to your fixed elements and furnishings to have a cohesive, harmonious look. You also want to pay attention to the LRV, which is light reflectance value. That tells you how light or dark a paint color is. Now, 100 is pure white, 0 is pure black. Most people are looking for a lighter paint color in their kitchens, which I would consider having an LRV of 60 or above. However, this is not a rule. You can go darker, especially if you have a lot of natural light, and I do have some darker blues and greens that I included in this list because I think they're stunning in kitchens. So if that's something you're interested, make sure you check those out. However, those are the two things you want to keep in mind when you're selecting a color for your kitchen walls. We're going to kick this list off with Greiges. These are super popular neutrals. They're blends of grays and beiges. Some of them read more gray, some of them read more beige, others are really good blends, but these are very popular kitchen wall colors. Edgecomb Gray has an LRV of 63 and is one of the most versatile grayish paint colors on the market. Thanks to the green undertone, this is a warm neutral, but it's versatile enough to work well with warmer tones like quartz or more bright white tones like marble. Balboa Mist is one of my favorites and the color we chose for the walls in our kitchen. This pretty Greige has an LRV of 63 and has a purple undertone. Now, this is a cooler color because of the purple undertone, but the great thing about this purple undertone is that a lot of the time they can play well with cooler or warmer tones. Oyster White has an LRV of 72 and is a pale Greige paint color with a green undertone. You want to use this color if you have bright white cabinets or a bright white off-white like Benjamin Moore's Simply White. If you have a warmer white, there will not be a huge contrast between wall and cabinet color. Now, in the inspiration photo you see here, the bottom half of the room is in oyster white and the top half is in a true white paint color. That means a white that doesn't have any undertones. Pale oak is a greige with taupe undertones. Now, taupes either have pink or purple undertones, and pale oak leans more towards the pink side, but this is very subtle. This color has an LRV of 68, which is very light, but it will provide a nice contrast between cabinet and wall color. In the inspiration photo that you see here, pale oak board and batten pairs beautifully with true white walls. And do note that the cabinets are also painted in pale oak as well. Accessible beige is one of the most popular greige colors on the market. This color has a green undertone, tends to lean more beige than gray, and has an LRV of 58. Now, if you want a light and bright color and don't have a lot of natural light, this color is likely not for you as it does need a good bit of natural light to look its best. Accessible beige is pretty versatile and it pairs well with warmer off-whites and true white cabinet colors. Okay, I'm going to pause of my list of recommendations to talk to you about how to test the paint color in your kitchen. So ideally you want to turn off all overhead lights. You just want to use natural light. You want to hold up a very large paint sample right to your cabinets, because those are going to be right next to the wall color. If you are painting, underneath your cabinets, put the paint color underneath the cabinets, evaluate it that way. But that's how you would test out a paint color in your kitchen. I did also want to mention, if you can put either a white poster board or a white sheet of paper behind it, that will also help you to see the paint color for what it really is. None of these teeny tiny little paint chips. you need a large sample size. Now, if you are having trouble choosing the right color for your kitchen and identifying what neutral you're seeing in your fixed elements and furnishings, I do offer paint color consultations, and you can check those out in the link below in the description. Now we're going to move on to gray paint colors, and I know gray has taken so much heat over the last couple years. Gray is still a viable neutral. We cannot just completely forget about one of the 4 neutrals on the market, and it works well, especially with a lot of cooler toned marble. It looks really pretty, and it works really well with backsplashes that have more blues and greens in them as well. Benjamin Moore Collingwood has an LRV of 61 and is gray with a violet undertone. I like to suggest this color in kitchens when a warmer white quartz or neutral black countertop is used and the room opens up to a living space with purple undertones. You'd actually be surprised how many purple undertones are in fabrics. Collingwood is also an option if you have a cooler toned countertop and backsplash, but you don't want cool gray on the walls, which is what a lot of clients are searching for because they just feel like a lot of grays with blue undertones are a little bit too cool for them. Collingwood is just this perfect in-between blend that will satisfy the cooler tones in your fixed elements and furnishings without getting too cold on the walls. Now, if you want a gray with a blue undertone to pair with marble or cooler toned elements in a kitchen, Benjamin Moore Gray Owl is a very pretty choice and one of my personal favorites. This color has a blue undertone and an LRV of 64. You need to know that this color is going to read like a very, very pale blue on the walls. If that's what you're after, great. If not, you still need a cooler tone, you want to look to grays or greiges with that purple undertone to kind of satisfy the best of both worlds there. Benjamin Moore Nimbus has an LRV of 59 and it's also a gray with a blue undertone, but the blue is very, very subdued, especially when compared to Gray Owl. This is the perfect option if you really need a cooler tone neutral but don't want your walls to read overly blue. Benjamin Moore Wickham Gray is one of my personal favorites. It's a gray with both a blue and a green undertone. I love that there's green in there because that really works to soften it up and make it not appear like a cooler gray with a blue undertone. Now here's a progress shot of a client project where we painted the foyer in this gorgeous color. It has an LRV of 67 and is perfect for brightening up spaces. Okay, I want to pause for just 1 second. I do know that there are a lot of Benjamin Moore colors on this list as opposed to Sherwin-Williams. Now, a lot of the paint purists will say that you absolutely must go to Sherwin-Williams or Benjamin Moore to get the colors, perfect. However, after doing a bazillion paint projects, my husband's also a general contractor and is constantly managing projects where people are very, very adamant about specific paint colors. We have never been burned by going to a big box store like Home Depot or Lowe's and color matching either a Benjamin Moore or a Sherwin-Williams product. Now, if you are hiring someone like a painter to paint your walls, most likely they're going to go to either Sherwin-Williams or Benjamin Moore rather than Home Depot and get the paint. I will say I am a personal fan of Benjamin Moore paint colors and also their paint. It just goes on like butter. It is so smooth. If you are wanting it for something like trim or molding, I think it's absolutely worth spending a little bit more because the end result is absolutely stunning. If you're going to go the route of getting your paint from Benjamin Moore or Sherwin-Williams, great, you don't need to worry. However, if you'd rather go to Home Depot, save a little bit of money, I get that. Make sure to just test it out before you put it all over your walls and make sure that it's the current match. But like I said, we have not been burned yet. Okay, now let's talk about beige colors. Beige colors have received quite a bad rap over the last several years. They are coming back majorly. I do have a video on beiges I will link below. The beiges that I'm going to suggest are very warm, light. They're almost like creamy tones, but they're perfect to warm up spaces, and so many of my clients are requesting much warmer tones and they are loving these beiges. The first beige that I have for you is Sherwin-Williams Shoji White. This is a beige/cream with a slight green undertone. This is a very, very pale color and has an LRV of 74. Now this is one of those colors where it's not gonna work with every single white cabinet color. If your cabinets are extremely creamy white, you do need to make sure that they work well before committing to a color this light. Benjamin Moore Muslin is a pale beige with a subtle pink undertone. Now, it's very, very subtle. This paint color has an LRV of 66 and pairs best with kitchens with warmer tones. Benjamin Moore Feather Down has an LRV of 73 and is technically a pale beige with a green undertone. Again, this is a very light paint color and it's not going to work well with every single white, especially if you went with a very creamy white, so do make sure you test this out to see the contrast between your cabinets and the wall color. It does look great though with very crisp whites, and that's why I tend to recommend it. Benjamin Moore Ballet White is another pale beige with a green undertone. Now, green undertones are very neutral. Ballet White has an LRV of 71, and again, this color looks best with warmer tones, but I've also seen it look very, very pretty with cooler tone stone like marble. Benjamin Moore Manchester Town is a beige with a green undertone, and it's like a slightly darker version of Feather Down. So if you liked Feather Down but didn't think it provided enough contrast between your cabinets and wall color, Feather Down is one to check out, and it has an LRV of 63. Now let's move on to blue and green colors. If you want to put some color on your wall, this next section is for you. First up, I have Benjamin Moore Glass Slipper, which is a very pale blue with an LRV of 70. This color would be absolutely beautiful when paired with marble countertops or cooler tone stone, but it also looks great with warm quartz or matte black countertops as well. Sherwin Williams Lullaby is a blue with a chalky slate undertone and an LRV of 65. This is a pretty versatile color as well, and it'll work with a variety of kitchen finishes, and especially looks great if the kitchen is open to a room where you are decorating in blue tones. Sherwin Williams Stardew is a darker blue with a gray undertone and has an LRV of 43. So this color is much darker than a lot of the ones I've recommended, but it's stunning in rooms with a lot of natural light. We do have this color on our cabinetry in our mudroom, and it's opposite of a lot of natural light right here. It's a great color if you want something with more personality on the walls. Benjamin Moore Woodlawn Blue is a stunning color if you're looking for more of that blue-green tone. This color has an LRV of 60, and it's perfect if you're decorating with either blues or greens because you really can play up either tone. Benjamin Moore Saybrook Sage is one I've highlighted before, and it's such a pretty pale green. I cannot stop recommending it enough. It's got a slight gray undertone, but nothing too overwhelming. This is a perfect color if you want a silvery sage on your walls. Now, it is a little bit darker. It has an LRV of 45, and I will say I only recommend this color for kitchens if you have a ton of natural light or, slightly above average, because that's really when it's going to look its best. Sherwin Williams Livable Green is perfect if you want that warm sage green tone on your walls, but you still want a fresh and airy vibe. With an LRV of 61, it's the perfect lighter green tone for kitchens. Just slightly darker than Livable Green is Soft Fern by Benjamin Moore. Now this color has an LRV of 56 and a gray undertone. I will say you do need a good bit of light for this one to shine, so make sure to evaluate it in your space and see how it reacts to your light. Benjamin Moore Hollingsworth Green is a beautiful combination of gray, green, and just a little bit of blue. This color has an LRV of 63, and it's really light enough to brighten up any kitchen.